Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Liberia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Morovia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Africa. Just to spoon, you will know. The children crying for starvation, just to spoon. You want to get a news update, my brother, to spoon. You want to know what is happening, Morovia, to spoon. Politicians want to make their decision, just to spoon. You want to know what happening in the ministry, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. You from Bonjama, Maryland, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. If you eat get back, congratulate my brother, to spoon. You got a spoon TV, you got a spoon radio, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. You want to get a news update, to spoon.
Down with the spoon, and your boy right in the south, man. Charges on the beach.
On the spoon to get your information. On the spoon to be my spoon, television. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening
along with that came in the car with Abu. Now you kept hearing the voice of Abu. Before I forget, you know there's a recording going around where there was a voice that was saying, "Oh, mommy, I'm calling your phone, you're not picking up." I remember during the saga, before I forget, you know there's a recording going around where there was a voice that was saying, "Oh, mommy, I'm calling your phone, you're not picking up." I remember during the saga, when the majority of people were bringing people, we were putting people together in our defense. And this recalling, like I said today from the code, the recalling was given to the police by General Gara and Oforidia. This recalling was given to the police by General Gara and Oforidia. I remember when the call was made because we used to talk. I used to go to Rambo DB place, so Matadi, when you go around where you got a hand pump, the eyes they put will tell you, yes, I used to be there. I used to go to Abu place. When the public where people were facing his place, they used to see me, I park my car, I go to Abu place, upstairs so him we talk. We were strategizing. We were trying to plan on how we can stop the people from behaving the way they are behaving and protect ourselves. So I remember that night, I made a call from Abu Kamara. After I saw Ombo DB call coming. When Ombo DB call, at that time I was awake and pick up the call. He asked me where I say to my apartment to 19th Street. If you ever listen to that recording, when they came to me, I came downstairs behind the place. In the car that Abu was riding. When I got down to the car, Oforidia came down from that car and Garan came down from the car. When I saw the people, then Ombo DB asked me, you know the guy? I said, yeah, I know the people. Then I call Ombo DB. I call Ombo Kamara. I said, these people are NSA people. The two people, there were about four that came along with that came in the car with Abu. Now you kept hearing the voice of Abu. I told him I don't trust these people. Oh, my man, people say Koga then bringing people from Nimba, so they want to help us, to protect us. I said, then we can discuss here. We have to go to my base, which is this base. We came that night, we sat down in front of the store. And I kept insisting that I can't work with people that NSA people. Oversight and General Garan. I kept insisting that these people are NSA people. I cannot work with these people. But DB say people, they are my country people. I say I don't trust these people. So from that point, I knew that something was going on, that they were up for setup. And luckily for us, we're not discussing nothing different. How we can protect ourselves, how we can resist if those people come to attack us, to protect ourselves. But every time we were talking, I was always giving them distance. Every time we were speaking, when authority want to come close to me, I will go the other way. When Garan want to come close to me, I will go the other way. So we certain point, authority and Garan say, oh, we need some money because we need to bring the people that will be like security to you people, so we can all be able to protect you people, because people are planning, because they brought the plane, they brought the idea. Authority, Garan and another guy, but like two people I knew and I could remember. So after we talk, we say, okay, if it is possible, then tomorrow we can all meet. If there's a situation, we will call you people as backup to protect us. So, my man, we get nothing to bring the people. I took 200 US and gave to Ombo DB. I said, Ombo DB, you don't want broad people. I said, I don't trust them. So you deal with them. Tell them to bring the people to protect us, you deal with them. And that's how we left. And we never ever saw them. I told DB, I said, you will give my money.
Is a representative of this district. We have county education officer, we have district education officer. Now, let me take you in the public school. Because public school, when you say public, it's owned by the government, that is people only. You look at the school. This is the Ministry of Education run school. The Ministry of Education running the place here. I think it's an office here. So, but look at the fellow Liberians. Look what they did here. All the millions of dollars given to the Ministry of Education. This is the Quinbas Town Public School. This is where the people, the young generation, the children who's supposed to take over from Waka, His Excellency, the children who's supposed to take over from Richard Kuhn, the children who's supposed to take over from Vice President Pan, Yogi Kanga Lawrence, they're supposed to take over. This is where the state federal Nigerians. You see here, June 6, 2025. June 6, 2025.
Well, that's different plan. We're looking for you for her to conclude it. That one, it's on the phone. So, I know that WhatsApp is saved, but tomorrow one.
I will call you.
Tomorrow one, do something happen to that plan.
Alright.
And the people, I got my actors with me. We've been rolling around, so I told you are around. Me and Debbie. And some other person.
I have to the president, please. I will call you.
I told you that, man, I'm president.
It will have a specific place that it will have begun from. But in this case, there were multiple areas that we noticed that the fire picked up from. So it wasn't like from one particular location spreading throughout the room, but from multiple locations around the room. So at this point in time, we are.
Turn this morning, okay? We rejected for several reasons. I felt it was offensive for my mother, her memory. My mother is not a liar, and we will not bury her as such. We will not bury her as such. It was simply that reasons. So yesterday, it should have been handled. I spoke to the ambassador that I wasn't happy about it, and he said he was going to handle it. He was going to do it. And this morning, he hadn't done it. So that's the reason I personally make sure that it was done. So I believe he went and got it in error. But I have the final say. This is my mother. I looked after her. I took care of her. Okay? And no one will disrespect her. It doesn't matter what anyone says. I'm a child. I'm the leader here. Okay? No one was here when she was ill. No one has been here for her. So it's what I say. And I don't care what anyone else says. I've consulted my siblings. We're all on the same page. Thank you.
So the first return from the former president's party headquarters, it was received by Ambassador Asen Yenebo. That's what you're saying, and not from you.
I returned it this morning because it should have been done yesterday. Because during the speech, there were certain things that was said that was unacceptable, and so I told him that I rejected the gift, and he said that he was going to handle it. But he didn't, so I handled it. So when he went,
don't just fall.
The boy riding the south man, charges on the beat.
To get your information, to the food to be fashion.
Okay, folks, I'd like to welcome you. Thanks for joining us tonight. It's good to be here. What a great way to be back with another edition of the program, the Late Night Show, Late Night Politics on Spoon. As we talk Liberia, take you around the country, the issues making the news, and of course, providing you analysis on those different issues of concern. I'd like to welcome all of you tonight. My name is Nelson Collier. This is the Late Night Show, the Late Night Politics on Spoon. And I know a lot of you have been concerned, the different concerns with respect to why I'm not watching the show. I'm trying to get the Late Night Show. Well, there has been some adjustments in the Late Night Show time. So the show now comes your way on Fridays and Saturdays. So I'd like to welcome all of you tonight. Thanks for joining us. We're live across the Spoon Network, Spoon FM 107.5. We're live on Fabric Radio 101.1. And we're also online, Spoon TV, Fabric TV, Super TV on Facebook. And on YouTube, Spoon Talk Live. Let me welcome Daniel Sisse. He says he's falling from Captain Bypass. Thank you for joining us. Wayne is joining in as well. As for Joseph, is coming on from Trenton, New Jersey. Moses Momolu is here tonight. I want to welcome Stephen McGill. Thank you for joining us tonight. And to all of you joining, kindly share the program as you come on. Let's have a great show. A lot to talk about tonight. So many things happening across the country, all at the same time. Moses Colley, thank you for joining us tonight. I want to welcome you to the Late Night Show. Let me welcome Samantha Abel. I see Abraham White joining in as well. That's Junior Collier is joining from Bapolu County, and I see a lot of you coming on tonight. Thank you for joining us, Winston, Charles, Kamara, and the many of you coming on tonight. Let's hope we can have a great conversation here tonight. I see Marian, Harry, Nathan, Venmore. Thanks to all of you for joining us tonight. Kindly share the program as you come on. Please share the show across your different social media handles, the chat rooms, and everywhere. We have a great conversation here tonight. Lynn Lapo is joining us. Thank you for joining in tonight. Lynn Freeman, my dear sister, thank you for coming on. Omen Birthday Noir is in the house tonight. Thank you for joining us. I see bar content. Lee Mel Jordan. That's Lake Jala. You're here as well. And the many of you joining us tonight. Thank you for joining us on the late night show. Well, I can't call all of the names, but I want to welcome everyone. Thanks for joining the show, Sagboli, and the rest of you coming on tonight. Let's hope we can have a great show. There's been a lot happening across the country for the past days. You know, now that the late night show comes on Fridays and Saturdays, it puts us in the tight position where we have to rumble through the happenings of the week and make sure that we bring out those happenings, make the analysis around those issues, and in some cases bring you up to speed with the happenings as well. And so it's good to be here. It's a great thing that we can be back to talk Liberia, to discuss the issues, to make sure that Liberia can do better. And then this is going to happen with all of us making our respective contributions, whether by adding our voices to the national discourse or making our meager contributions towards the betterment of our country. And that's something we can do. And then gradually, we can see our country make the kind of progress that we all anticipate. And I want to welcome you in a special way tonight to this edition of the program. Well, there's been a lot. Maybe we should just go through the happenings, provide you some updates. I don't know how many of you have been following this issue, but most of you may be aware the AML, ArcelorMittal Liberia, is going to have her contract. The deal that was signed between that company and the government of Liberia comes to an end or gets expired by 2030. So by 2030, the mineral development agreement between ArcelorMittal and the government of Liberia is going to be expired. And there has been some efforts. So even ahead of 2030 now, there are different arrangements, different engagements, different negotiations going on in the back end ahead of 2030 to have the government of Liberia renew the contract between the government of Liberia and ArcelorMittal. And this is very important. Now, even ahead of this particular renewal and everything, that lots of conversation are going on around already, we saw recently the dedication of the 1.4 million infrastructure expansion meant to boost the oil operations That project was being dedicated at the site in Nimba County. The president and some key officials of government were in attendance. They all attended. There was an elaborate ceremony when everyone had their own, a piece. Everyone had their own thing to say with respect to the facility. Well, a lot of people hailed the facility that was being constructed, turned over or dedicated there in Nimba County. But even with what happened, all the festivity and everything that went on in Nimba County, there are lots of concerns. One of the senators of Nimba County, Senator Yan D. Twine, had a press conference recently. And the senator went on to outline bit by bit the failures, the shortfalls, and of ArcelorMittal, and how the institution or the company had failed to live up to some of the very things captured in the current mineral development agreement. Well, according to him, the recent facility that was dedicated is something that should have been done long time ago as per the contract. The contract that's now in effect. All of those things were not done. And so he laid out some requirements that will have to be met if the institution's new contract should be signed. If the new contract should be signed, he's saying that this, that, and the other one, these are things that the company is supposed to do. So on the overall, he was saying that the caucus is going to resist. They will use every means legislatively to resist the signing of that contract if the company fails or continue to proceed the way it has been proceeding over the past years. Now, after that very engaging press conference, the next thing we saw was a communications person from one of the communications person from ArcelorMittal, had a media engagement and accused the senator of wanting to bring another company in the country, and that's why the senator was as strong as he was during that particular press conference. He thought that everything the fight that the senator is taking on is just geared towards creating a negative picture of the institution because he has his own interest. Now, a day after, we saw that the senator put it on the floor for the Environmental Protection Agency to be able to appear before the Liberian Senate and gave reasons why and gave the Liberian people an understanding as to whether there were studies done to give an idea of the impact of the operations of the entity in that part of the country, and what does the EPA know about everything that's happening, and that even the management of the institution will have to appear as well, and they want to have more understanding on their operations and all of that. So this is where we are, and we're going to go into that conversation plus other issues tonight because it's very important. A lot of people have their own sides when it comes to this particular conversation. This is something that took off in the course of the week, but it extended up to the rest of the week, up to the weekend. The senator took it up on Tuesday. There was a response on Wednesday. And then we have this thing keep rolling out. On Thursday, there was a call for the Senate to invite the folks from the EPA. So we're going to talk about that. And a lot of other issues as well happening on the sideline of this ArcelorMittal saga. There are concerns at the legislature. Now, most of you followed closely that the legislature at some point took keen interest in the MedTech and CTN contract. The legislature was concerned because even before the inception of this government, there were concerns that the MedTech and CTN deals were not too good for the Liberian people. Most of the business people had their own concerns with respect to how this particular thing was being rolled out. And so the Liberian Senate took keen interest in it. They invited the both parties. They had lots of public hearings trying to understand how the contracts were signed. Why do we have the two companies operating? As to whether it's possible for us to have one and let another one go. And during the different public hearings, the Senate uncovered a lot, from the operations of the company to what was coming to Liberia in revenue or in taxes and fees, to just a whole lot. They uncovered the similarity between the work, the both companies are doing in the country. And there were suggestions through the different public hearings from some of the senators, some of the lawmakers that, look, is it possible that the government of Liberia take on some of the responsibilities, some of those services that maybe the CTN or the MedTech is carrying on? And by that, we can reduce the burden on our people who are into business and bringing, shipping their goods and other stuff into the country. Through all of those different public hearings, it ended up that the government of Liberia went and renegotiated the contract. Now, instead of the 3% or so that was coming to the government of Liberia, the percentage was increased. And there were some little adjustments that were made with respect to that particular contract. But what reawakened this particular issue this week was that the Senate has been concerned. The chair on Ways, Means, Finance at the Liberian Senate, Senator Prince Moy, was concerned. And his point was the Liberian Senate, despite all the works, the concerns that were raised, the multiple public hearings, and everything the Senate did to bring to the attention of the government or the requisite authority some of the issues with the contracts, the Senate or the legislature was not officially communicated to by the executive branch of government before those actions were taken or even after the actions were taken. Okay, so we have public hearings. We put the feet of those people to fire. We make sure that, yes, we push them. We brought them here. There were lots of public hearings. We uncovered how some of the components of those contracts were not in the best interest of the Liberian people. All of those different things we uncovered. But then how come you, the executive, decided to take an action? You decided to make amendments to the contract, to make some adjustments, to increase the benefit that Liberia should be getting, to do some other things to the country. How come You did not communicate with us. How come we don't know? Though we are here at the legislature, we've been doing all that we try to do, but how come we just sit here as a people and hear on the radio or other places that, there has been this adjustment, there has been the other adjustment, the percentage for Liberia has increased, but there has been no official communication toward the Liberian people regarding these issues. Well, that has been a concern. And a lot of people are asking as to whether the legislature was bypassed on this one. Well, the other side of the argument that some of the folks have put forward is that whether the legislature was informed or not, what is more important is that something was done to at least ease the burden, bring down the tension on the ordinary Liberian people. What are your thoughts on those issues? We're going to have those different conversations here tonight. And we're going to have those different conversations here tonight. Most of you are aware that the Center for Transparency and Accountability, CENTAR, released the 2024 corruption report, and in that corruption report, they've outlined the different sectors where there are corruption or perceived corruption, since in fact this is not coming from a code of competent jurisdiction. Places where they've perceived corruption, the different sectors, and there are different components of that report that we're going to look at tonight. They mentioned the police and a few other institutions as well in that report. We're going to take a look at that as well, plus a lot of other issues across the country we're going to look at. But I want to welcome all of you. There is what appears to be the repeat of the Emmanuel Tolu situation. I don't know how many of you remember that. Emmanuel Tolu, the teenager who found, what's the amount? The amount has escaped me. I'm going to try to get that. The guy found a huge amount of money, and then he returned it to the businesswoman and all of that. Emmanuel Tolu was in the news. Former President George Weah, I remember at the time, made some great promises to Emmanuel Tolu. Emmanuel Tolu is now in school from a motorbike rider. He's now in school and all of that. Well, there is what seemed to be the repeat of that particular case or situation when in Barclayville, a commercial motorcyclist by the name of Abraham David found and returned more than $1 million Liberian dollars in cash. He found the money between the Plebo Highway and the Barclayville to Plebo Highway. It was within that corridor he found the money, and he decided to return the money. And Momo, that's Abraham David's case, this act of generosity, honesty, has claimed a lot of attention. But yes, this is not really the first time, but it speaks volume, especially in a society where a lot of people believe that there are so many dishonest people, and to find, especially so a motorcyclist, returning such an amount, and that's something that's been in the news as well. But let me welcome Mobile on the show tonight. We have a lot of issues to talk about. Mobile, welcome. It's good to have you on tonight.
Thank you, Nelson, and thank you to our many listeners. We are here tonight to discuss the issues unfolding in our country. I want to tell you thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here. I appreciate that so much.
Well, thanks a lot, Moba. And it's indeed a good thing to be here tonight to talk Liberia, to discuss the issues, to provide the updates, and get the national conversations going on. You want to come in? What's on your
Yeah.
mind? Just so
Yeah.
we get the show started now. I'm trying to get a few pieces together quickly.
Yeah. What's on my mind, nursing? It's a lot on my mind. We are calling on the Liberian government uh, to do at least their coming year budget so they can be able to help in various schools. Because we understand everything like from our own understanding, everything don't happen one day or 2 days. No, it's gradually. It's a process. But we appealing to the government to look into education, and we can see. And for me, I've seen the health center this few days. Like I've seen a lot of machine. Some part of the hospital. I think it is welcoming for our nation. And the president also with all tariff on rice. I think we even discussed that, and people don't even talking about that. But every day, our major food, our major food is rice. And as far as we're concerned, the president said, you know what, let we take our tariffs from on the rice so that our people can be able to afford it. And we want to tell the president, thank you for that as well. We got to discuss that too. Everything is not bread and butter. As we always say, everything is not bread and butter. We got a lot of challenges. We got a lot of challenges right now, and we will get it ahead of us. But what are we doing to cause some of these challenges? Is to work. Is the government to focus on job creation in the private sector at least, because a lot of Nelson, a lot of things going on in our country, like the job facility in the country, right? The job facility is one of the things that Liberia and the government as large need to look at in the private sector. The government need to focus in the private sector and forget about it too much government and the other one though. Let them focus on the private sector, and how can we establish that by bringing investor, but we cannot bring investor in a country where you see people get on the street tomorrow, they go cause chaos. You see the other one, people lies every day. Look, Liberians, no matter what we do, the same people you fighting for today, you putting your neck on chopping board, you're doing this, you're doing that. End of the day, you know what happens?
Okay, so I think Moba has some connection issues. He's gonna come back. I think he's trying to make some adjustments there. We're gonna have him to come back shortly. Once he can address those different issues that he's trying to work on, he's gonna come back. But again, yes, I just like to provide a little clarity on this one. And I know most times you talk about the executive order. It's a good thing in the first place. Let me say that the executive order dropping tariff on rice is a good thing because it's going to have an impact on the price of the country's staple food. It's a good thing, Moba. But one thing
Yeah.
I want to just make clear is that this executive order is not new. This is an extension of previous executive orders.
But
And I
it was
remember,
nursing. It was in implementation or what? They were
oh yeah,
implementing it.
so there has been an executive order that will come up repeatedly. I remember as far back as on the former president Ellen Johnson's leave, there was the executive order for the reduction, I think the removal of tariff on rice or something. So, but what happens is that executive orders are active for a period of 1 year. So after every year, whoever the president is, get to renew that executive order. So from former President Ellen Johnson's leave, they've been dropping tariff on rice. extended to former President George Weah. Every year, former President George Weah would drop tariff on rice, and it has now extended to this administration. And so that's why we saw President Boakai releasing that executive order.
and
Yeah,
and
so
and
this is something that's been happening actually.
that, yeah, that's good. And I think the government that need to try and and open, and invest in agriculture. Nelson, is our staple food. When you go Ghana,
And that's the question, Moba. That's the
Nelson,
question.
yeah,
Uh, with this whole reduction, okay, let's say dropping tariff on rice thing, how is it helping us as a country? Is
that,
this a long term approach to the situation, or is it a short term? What can we do as a long term approach so that we don't get our presidents constantly coming up with these executive orders just to
all
drop
right.
tariff on rice?
Yeah, Nelson, I think you are right. I think the government need to focus on long term situation to settle it, because end of the day, today the president come out and say, okay, 1 year, as you said, every government kind of got to renew, or every 1 year they renew, after
Yeah,
1 year they
after a
renew
year.
it. So it's nothing. What the government doing in agriculture, the government need to focus on rice. Not nothing. When you go Ghana, Nigeria, the people like that swallowing. They like, and when you go, the people get a yen, they get a cassava. All the food we swallow in America in our Sony Park, right? We're buying if from 70, that is 70 or 90% coming from Nigeria and Ghana, right? They get a Labrador flare on a Labrador food tape there. Nothing coming from Liberia. So, and our staple food is rice. And the agriculture sector, I don't know, today when they say, oh, machine coming, the other one, we can see nothing. Next thing, it's just frustrating for the agriculture sector to keep going down on every government. And we will say it's not something that is happening that we say, okay, agriculture sector is boosting under this government. We say, yeah, no, it's not. We want to see Liberia producing rice. We want to see the local farmers, right? Where the government will open a company where you go, you play your right, the government give you a seeds, you bring it right, the government buy it and transform it to our stable food, and then they sell it in the market, buy from the market, from the farmer, and then transform it. Let's see all these things happening in other countries. Look at Burkina Faso. You think the other tomato farm will costing the on today? You think what the tomato farm who making it? Not the government making the farm. That citizens making the farm, but the government empower them with tools. The government empower them with tools. When they go to make that farm, when they bring the tomato, they weigh them. The government buy it. When the government buy it, the government take it and put it in how you call it? They make tomato paste with it. And how they did it set in the market. It's another way of what? Employing Liberians. It's another way of giving Liberian more avenue to make farm. Now see, what we can do our stable food. We get lofa, we get bone. That's it. The 14th part from Maserado. The other country, you there should be all those stuff, right? But this is not happening on this government. I think the government now need to go and sit and make sure they do the proper thing so that tomorrow Liberia can be on the map like Burkina Faso. Because look, every nation, the only way you can survive, you survive through agriculture. With agriculture, when you look at all the countries that are boosting right now, nothing. The agriculture sector is booming. You see a lot of things now. People say, oh, infrastructure, we agree. But when agriculture is in the space, what happens? All these things, the economics will rise. More especially when Liberia now start trying to what? Export rights in other countries. They already get producing, mine, other things. I think the government need to look on that way, because if the government look on that way, all the money will be collecting in revenue. People working is another way of employment for every county, and you get people and the government bringing more revenue outside the country. Burkina Faso now only producing tomato in they only using tomato in Burkina Faso. No, in other country, neighboring country, in Burkina Faso, other places they exporting a tomato and people buying it. So my suggestion to the president and the government is, or my under 1 or 2 cents is, let them focus on agriculture. All the other things will follow. All the other things will follow. Nelson. So the long term to kick poverty out of Liberia, the government need to be effective in agriculture. The government need to be effective in agriculture, put more resources, invest in agriculture, and you will see the outcome, Nelson. All the people in the villages will want to make farm, because they understand that when they make farm, when they bring our crops in the city, what happens? The government buy it and transform it and resell it to the Liberian people. and also some export. That's our country. All the country that look at Japan, China, they both depend on agriculture. They both depend on agriculture. Well, I can name a lot of countries that right now, so speaking, they focus on agriculture. Agriculture for every country is sustain its nation. But our agriculture, all the things we're doing are nothing. You go today, you go take 2,000 loan, company can, the other company can, they give you 2 million whole year, or 2-3 years, they give you 1 million. Next thing, our country not going nowhere. All our money go on salary.
Thank you, Moba. You know, and you're right on that, and that's why I think with all of these executive orders, the government of Liberia, whether President Boakai or whoever becomes the president after President Boakai, they'll have to give some attention to the whole thing about rice. Because come to think about it, President George Weah alone issued 6 executive orders all on rice, dropping tariff on rice. For example, in May of 2021, May 3, there was executive order number 105 that had to do with the suspension of tariff on rice. There was another executive order number 98. President Barker again, dropping tariff on rice. The country's staple food. There was another executive order in 2020 as well. Another one for this whole suspension of tariff on rice. So what they're doing is that they're not even dropping the tariffs. With those executive orders,
that's what I'm saying. That implementation.
The tariff. So the tariff just sticking up there.
That's it. That's what I was asking.
If for any reason, any government, maybe the president fails to renew the executive order, tariff will go on rice. What happens? Then the price of rice on the market will increase. Then after that, it will give rise to a lot of other things. And I think this is where it's very important for our people, our government, to give some real attention to this whole tariff. Find a long-term solution to.
Yeah, and let me add to it before we move on to the other topic. Look, if the government can look at something around $200 or $300 million and put it only beyond agriculture, they will get the benefit that everybody will like, wow. Because nothing, imagine you empowering local farmers all in the counties, and when they make their crops, they bring it to you. The government open your own company, right? They bring it to you. And you transform it, you buy from it, transform it, and you sell it to them. And some of it, you send it out. Next thing, look at the logic in that. First of all, a job creation for the local farmer. Secondly, you get another company that producing, that are producing those things in different form. And the third one is you exporting those things out of the country. You're not just Labrador, the only country will be consuming it. No, you can make all the arrangement with Sierra Leone, Ghana, and other places, and you sell your goods. Money coming right in the government cover. That alone in a year time, that people will start. You see, will not be depending on ArcelorMittal and also get $2 million whole 2 years, 3 years. Then they say $2-3 million money there. It's frustrating. Nothing will come every day. We say, but it's frustrating to see our country where we get all the resources and nothing is happening.
Thank you.
When it comes to agriculture.
Thank you, Mobab. I want us to move to this first talking point of ours. The rice thing was just your opening, and we had to chit chat about it a little bit. But I want us to listen to the Bond County Senator Prince Moy on this one. Let's see if we can get this coming through. Okay, so this one.
It's not only that we are collecting the revenue, but we are also giving incentive to the ministry. So it's like we're telling them collect the money, but when you collect it, you get a percentage for collecting it. So it's a beneficial thing until we can take that decisive decision. We say we'll not collect 10 million this coming budget year. on account of providing those jobs that our people have the skills to do in the labor sector. We have to be decisive because we are now enabling them to collect, and not only collecting, but putting in the budget law a percentage that goes to them directly to empower them, because that revenue enhancement, to empower them to collect. So they are not going to leave it because they are getting something from there as to their own motivation, and they're also going to disenfranchise those of our workers or citizens that have skills to do those work. So it's about now that we begin to take steps and plenary gave a correct mandate to the Ways and Means Committee in preparation of the 2026 budget, so that we work with finance and say, look, this is what we have done to get our people to get those jobs that they are able to do. So if your revenue that you projected is $10 million, and because we have to protect our international protocols and whatever, we're going to do half. It means that half of the work permit will now be given to, Liberians that have skills. So that's the way to approach it.
So the labor minister who was meeting the target without telling you Ways, Means and Finance that it's compromising the jobs for Liberians. So we didn't know.
So, Maba, that was the debate earlier this week on the whole work permit thing, the issuance of work permit to non-Liberians. But I think that was a missed clip. This is the actual clip I intended to bring on. Let's listen to this one.
Signed agreement between the government of Liberia, represented by the National Port Authority, the LRA, the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, that of the Ministry of Justice, in the amendment to the GTMS or CDM agreement. So if I would get the indulgence of this plenary, I wanted to put it on an AOB, then I can further propound on what I just listed.
Okay. So, Mobile, what you see here is a concern raised about the CTN and the GTMS. You are aware that before now, there were major concerns around the whole CTN contract and the services they were providing. A lot of Liberians complained about the benefit of the contract, how much of extra financial burden it was bringing to them, especially for the people who were importing things into the country. In fact, there were concerns about how much is our government, the government of Liberia, benefiting from all of this. Now, fast forward, the Senate took on the issue. They invited the leadership from, or the management from those different organizations, the CTM, GTMS, and all of those people. They appeared. Following all the public hearings they conducted, the legislature made recommendations to the executive. There were concerns that some of those services that those companies are providing for Liberia, the government could take on some of those services, provide those services, lessen the financial burden on the people who are importing items in the country, and by extension, it will start to reflect on the prices of commodities in the country, especially those commodities that are shipped to Liberia. And now the concern that the senator is raising is that after all those engagements, instead of canceling maybe one of the contracts, or letting the legislature know what the executive was about to do. The legislature or the executive, represented by the MPA boss, they went ahead and revisited the contract and signed it on behalf of the government of Liberia. But the legislature is saying that they were not informed. The senator there is saying that there was absolutely no official communication from the from the executive to the legislature that, okay, based on XYZ you guys did, these are the adjustments we want to make. Okay, initially, before the interventions you guys made, there was XYZ percentage coming to the government of Liberia. Well, we're increasing the percentage for the government of Liberia, so as to make sure that the country can benefit. He said there was nothing as such. In fact, what happened, on the other hand, was those contracts were revisited, represented by the Ministry of Finance, the NPA. They signed those agreements, and the legislature is left in the cold. I mean, what do you make of these concerns that are coming out of the legislature at this point? What was it even necessary? Was it mandatory? What the senator is calling for now, that the executive should have informed the legislature, at least officially informed the legislature, with respect to the actions, the amendments, and all of those engagements they were about to make.
Nelson, is a valid point. It's a valid point the senator is raising, because look, how about the concession in the country, right? The companies, like more especially, I will talk about the big one, ArcelorMittal, right? All the things they're doing, they're taking out the iron ore, carrying it in other country, transforming it, bringing it back to sell iron to ore, to sell steel rods, solar plate, all the plate and other things that they sell it to us. And all these things come with what? Expensive. We buy it, they use our resources, they carry it, and they bring it back to us and sell it to us more money. Now, I expect the government, we bring the government to power. We're not here to babysit them. If they do something wrong, we say. On our part, Nelson, the senator, all the senators are right. But right, that identical concession needed to be revisited and let amend some of those things that in our concession deed. For example, let the company open maybe 500 to 600 steel company or employee.
We haven't gone to the ArcelorMittal conversation yet. We still on
the D process, right?
The port, the agreement that's affecting the port. The CTN and METEC contract.
Oh, you talk about the CTN and
METEC of Liberia recently re-signed. And the legislature is saying that the executive did not inform them.
But nothing.
And they're raising concern as to why the executive did not inform them, when in fact it was the legislature that took up this particular issue, invited those people for public hearings all around the place, and uncovered some of the issues with that particular contract before the government had to go and revisit. And they're saying that they only heard about the signing of the contract and stuff in the thin air. Some of them only heard about it on radio.
Nothing. It is wrong on the government side, because that whole put issue where it comes to the what's the name of the
CTN and the
METEC and the METEC, right? Look, that company we all know doing Georgia region, that company was a fraud. We all know, we discuss it, and we come to one conclusion that if the government come to power, they will revisit. But that identical concession, the head of the concession needed to go to the Senate. And what? And answer questions, although the Senate invited them, I think the Senate or the House of Representatives invited them once, and they went there. There were a lot of lapses. There were a lot of corruption saga around that identical CTM. I expect the government to not even sit and say, you know what, let us just do it on our own. They should have contacted the House of Senate to make sure and go to that identical document, Nelson, and amend some of these things, and look at what the benefit for Liberians, how many Liberians will be. I know the last time we came here, we said they will give 30% to Liberia. But by where? The Senate needed to be involved. The Senate needed to be involved to make sure that identical agreement it met the Liberian people interest. The government, cannot work out some money and say, okay, you know what, send this happen, like we just sign it and let that be done. I think it is wrong on the government partners. That also, it is wrong. The Senate started it. We all could remember the Senate.
But Maba, don't you think they were doing their job? And
they were doing their job.
The fact that they did their job and there was an impact, that's sufficient.
Nothing. They did their job. They completed it, and then they needed to give some advices and solutions to the problem through the Senate hearing and give some of the communication to the president. That's it. You can't just run it on your own like that. Look, that's why we're still running a country. It's not individual. We're running a country, and all the people you all work together. If the people carry on all those things, and they still get idea to add to what they have or what the idea they give, nothing. Why not? Why not? We shouldn't come here and say because the government, the government, the president, and whosoever were wrong on that aspect. They should have, contacted the Senate for consultation. Nursing.
Okay, so let's put it this way. Sandy, welcome to the show. Let's put it this way. You have 3 separate but equal branches of government.
Mm-hmm.
And the legislature is responsible for oversight. And what the legislature or what the Senate did was oversight. They figured out there was a problem, there was an issue within that particular area with the contract signed between the government of Liberia, CTN and METEX. Perhaps some of those senators, while they were even out of the legislature, they listened to the views of Liberians, the concerns that Liberians were raising, as to how the CTN and the METEX were exploiting them and all of those different concerns that people were raising. Now they enter the House. They exercise the oversight. Was it necessary that after exercising your oversight, now it goes to the executive? Now the executive has experienced the people, the experts. Take, for example, the NPA boss, the finance minister, all of those people from those different institutions, the justice minister. They were going to the contract now. Was it necessary for them to call a conference, write a communication to the legislature, to tell them that, look, the step you took, that oversight you carry on, which was your job, we're about to take it to the next stage. We want to sign the contract, though there was suggestion that from some of the folks that the contract should be canceled because it was not in the best interest of Liberians. But was it necessary to address a whole communication to the legislature before the government of Liberia moved on with the next stage? Sandy, I think we lost mobile for a while. But if you've been okay,
yo,
so
let
mobile.
me conclude. Also,
yeah,
my message and all of email that come here quickly. So yeah, but again, let me just say this. Nursing, when you look at it from the both angle, probably it's not mandated that the president, the executive, go back to the Senate and tell them, say we got to do it this way, we got to do it this way. Probably. But I think for respect and for transparency within our own ideas, in our own understanding, for transparency, they should have contacted the Senate and maybe some of the committee here, and say, okay, this is what we're doing. I know it's not in the constitution that when after oversight, the government when they were to do when the government, the president were ready to do the signature or whatsoever agreement, the Senate not get no fish to fry in it. Let's agree, let's take that part. But I think the Senate, they feel a little bit disrespected, and secondly, they were needed that respect from the government to say, okay, you know what, from the executive, let us do this and let us guide you through the process to make sure all are bring benefit. I think that is that point. And some of the issues you hear the senator raising over there, I think all valid. All these points we're raising is a valid point. It means to say, although it's not in the constitution, I agree. It's not in the Constitution. Nobody will tell you in Constitution, no, it's not. But I think for transparency, they should have done it.
Thank you. Cindy, have you been following? You could weigh in on this. If not, then we could transition. Cindy, can you hear me?
You muted, Sandy.
Sandy, you are muted.
Sandy, we can hear you.
Sandy is not coming in with his regular gadget. So yeah, you can just log out and try to come back. Yeah, because we can't hear you. We're not hearing you at all, Sandy.
Sandy, keep talking. Sandy, go back and come back. We're not hearing you.
Okay, let me post Sandy off.
You just put your finger on, I show you something.
Yeah, so
yeah. But I go to the next topic. Let me get my 1 or 2 cents, my man.
So Sandy is going to come back. Let's see if we can but this is very important. And at the end of the day, this whole thing appears to be more like a spilled milk. Because it has been signed. At this point,
there's nothing.
What else can be done?
Yeah, but Nessie, let me ask the question, right? After they signed the identical agreement, did the Senate, I mean the executive sent any letter to the Senate that this is what and Z that we
and that's the concern that's the concern that the Senate is raising.
Yeah, that's the point.
And now there are so many questions that are being asked. Why was the Senate bypassed? But is it fair to call it a bypass? Could we say they were doing their job? Everyone has a scope to operate in. Sandy, can you say something so we'll be sure if we can hear you?
Yes, I think I'm good here.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, my brother,
yeah, so unfortunately I had to join from my cell phone.
Okay.
I have just returned back from my trip, so I'm still in the process of resetting up the office space. So by next week I should be better. But yes, I have been following the conversation. Well, there are processes involved that from both, from every branch of government. Like the legislators, the senators have carried on their function, which is the oversight. Now, doing the oversight, they have made some recommendations. They have tried to rectify some mistakes. And the oversight process led to the executive signing the new agreement between, the organizations and the government. Now, I think what the senators should be concerned about, or what they should do now, is to ask the entity to present to them what was signed, to ensure that what was signed reflects what they propose, what the senators propose. I do not know the process, so I don't want to speak for the senators. Maybe what they are asking for is more of a respect for the Senate, or if that's the procedure that should be followed. That after we have carried on the oversight process, before you sign anything, you should come back to us, or you should invite us to the table. Then I don't think that will be the process, because then that will take away the executive function. So what they can do, or what they should do now, since the executive have signed that new agreement, that new contract, the senator should ask for copy or call them so that they can review what was signed, to ensure that whatever they sign reflects what the senators have proposed. Really, I think that should be the process. That should be the steps. But again, most of the concessions or these agreements being signed between us and these, MTA or MTN or whatever they are, NECTEC, we have, argued this over and over, that some of those things can be done by the government. Some of those things can be done by ordinary Liberians. Some of those things can be done to put money in the government pocket. We cannot outsource everything to people, knowing very well that when we train our own people, when we bring them on board, they can do the work and in turn just keep the money in the country. Those organizations are paying us penny and they are taking a lot from us. So that's something we need to really discuss more. That's something the senators need to focus on more. That's something the executive branch of government need to focus on more. What are some of the jobs we are giving out that we can do ourselves to keep the money here in the country? That should be the focus.
Thank you, Sandy. I want us to transition quickly now. Let's go into a little bit of this saga that's unfolding before us with the ArcelorMittal. Now, a lot of you watched closely the press conference that was held by the Nimba County Senator Yan D. Twine. I want you to listen to just a portion of this one.
Instead of 1.4 billion. Again, an example of AML overstatement of expenditure to avoid paying proper taxes and dividends to the people of Nimba in Liberia. Doesn't even make sense, even if it were worth 1.4 billion, for an investment to be placed in a filthy area with no roads leading to. Number 6, transfer pricing. Transfer pricing has been one of the main reasons for lack of dividend. ArcelorMittal uses the strategy of transfer pricing to avoid declaring profit from which Liberia could benefit dividend as per the MDA. We have raised this concern that on many occasions, the company has been engaging in transfer pricing practices that result in underreporting of profit to Liberia. This involves setting the price of goods and services provided to related entities at the levels that do not reflect market value, thereby reducing the reported profit in Liberia and subsequently the dividends owed to the government under the MDA. In light of these sustained failure, ladies and gentlemen of the press, my fellow Nimbians and Liberians,
Is that mean or the senator pause?
I think that they never from nursing angle.
Oh,
I think they never from nursing angle. But yeah, the senator, I think we can get 1 or 2 cents because he's speaking on our ArcelorMittal new agreement that the president went and visited, and the 1 billion project they carry on. That I think that's where he coming from. That it is fraud. You not believe it, and secondly, there's no rule leading to the
binding NMD. And the AMF increased the social development funds to Nimba County and the 2 other affected counties. Show that ArcelorMittal fulfilled.
That's how you that. We got love to know, but we can't make it. They never holding it, man. But again, that's the same issue. We were discussing. I think we all understand what ArcelorMittal, trying to get a new signature. Okay, loading. I think they never giving that same tough time.
yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I think we can continue.
Yeah, we can continue. I'll soon be leaving. So I got 10 more minutes. But
Like,
okay,
guys, sorry.
Must not be swayed.
I think I had some issues here.
Yeah. Okay. So we are paused on Nelson now. Nelson is having some technical issues. But I can dive into what the senator is saying. I mean, I listened to that recording.
Start up. Let me see. A minute.
Yeah, and then whenever Nelson comes in, we can continue from there. Look, I heard both sides. I heard what the senator uh, is trying to communicate or was trying to communicate, and what some of the leaders from the communities or so-called activists are also trying to fight back on. But really, what the senator is trying to push here, he's pushing for greater accountability from AML. He is asking for financial transparency. He's asking for environmental integrity. He's asking for infrastructure improvement. He's asking for those things to be met. A lot of people have complained about ArcelorMittal or AML. They have a complaint. The living conditions of their worker is unbearable. There is not good roads leading to their operation sites. People have complained a lot about this same organization. The last time I talked about AML, and I told you that this organization is operating massively here in the US, in the state of Louisiana, where they have their operation plants, where they make the steels. But then when it comes to Liberia, they will rather use the mudded road, the terrible roads, get your steels and bring them to a country like the US to bring your iron ore, bring them here to turn them into major products. So I think what the Senate is asking for, he's mandating that the EPA, before they release any permit, that the EPA should actually go on site to investigate what's happening there, because that new area, that new quote unquote $1 billion worth of factory that they're about to build, the senator argument is that, well, you don't even have good roads leading there. Your track records tell us that you are terrible at transferring your task responsibility into things that you actually do not implement. And we have seen that. And that's why the senator is accusing them. You're transferring your prices to strip profits out of Liberia. Because what they often do is that they will say, oh, we will repair housing, we will fix the roads, we will provide public amenities, we will provide this, we will do this. But then they will never usually fulfill their promises. They will never